to another episode, actually episode 33 of the New Jack Swing podcast. I've got Stevie Street and Mr. Sheldon Taylor alongside me. Namdi, how are you guys doing this evening?
Very excited to be here as usual on a Sunday evening live
Yes,
with my two fellow New Jack Swing podcast friends, Sheldon and Nandi.
most
Yeah,
definitely.
excited tonight. Excited tonight. How are you doing, Sheldon?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing? Good?
Mhm.
You guys all
Very good.
right? Good,
Yeah,
good.
yes,
What's up,
yes.
everybody?
It, yeah, we're waiting for everyone to just slowly join us. Um, but it's really good today that we're going to be. You know what? And I need to find. I don't think anyone has pushed and promoted. Good evening, Mr. Oscar Flavor. I don't think anyone has promoted Troop over the past 4 years as much as I've been doing, or as we've been doing. Um, Jon has been on twice. Um, but every time I have a guest who's worked with them, I um, I always ask him about Troop, whether it's Chucky Booker, DOA Allen, um, and yeah, so it's a group that missed out on a lot due to some of the mismanagement and things. But anyway, we're going to get into that. Last exit to Brooklyn. Welcome. Can you rerun the Albie Show one? It is live, and I will send you the link. And Mac, I already saw that you ranked your albums. Welcome. Yes, we're waiting for Jon to join us, but yes, in the interim, before we start off with any music news, Stevie and Sheldon.
Seems to have been a weekend of cancellations. You know, we've got this. I've heard about some R&B thing out. Is it in Vegas that got cancelled? Then you've got this new venue we've got in Manchester called the Co-op Live, which they just can't seem to get going. And all these big artists like Barry Manilow are booked to play, and they're cancelling them left, right, and centre because they can't get the electricity to work apparently. So
Yeah, so the one in Vegas, which is the Lovers and Friends. This is Usher's big concert. It's like an R&B version of Coachella or something like that. And the winds and the weather out in Vegas is really bad. And I think due
Festival.
to health and safety, they had to cancel it at the 12th hour. But all the artists were already in Vegas. I mean, they were all flown in, and they were already out there, but they had to cancel it. So they've scrambled around to do press conferences and stuff. But that's been a real shame. You just can't control the weather. But it's been one of the best. It's been one of the best sort of music festivals because they get at least 40 or 50 different of 30 R&B acts. So that was a disappointment. Janet was supposed to be there, Mary J. Blige, as I said, Usher, and then a lot of different groups who just all flew in, and that got missed. Yeah, Derek, welcome this evening. All right. So this evening we're due to have our special guest Jon Jon from the group Troop, but today is 30 days to issue refunds normal, or do I actually? I saw some of the managers who were asking that are they going to get paid, and I'm sure insurance are involved. So yeah, that's going to be they'll be able to sort that out. Baseline G, welcome. Okay, so Troop. It's real strange. They've come out with 5 albums, 3 on Warner Brothers, 1 on Busted.
Atlantic, 3 on Atlantic,
Yeah, Warner Brothers is the
and then
Atlantic.
two independently, and then they've done a whole bunch of. They've done a couple of digital only albums in the last 20 years as well.
Yes.
All the in between stuff. There is a lot of material from Troop. I didn't think we'd ever get round so soon to doing an overview top 10 of Troop. So I'm pretty excited about this because in the land of New Jack Swing, they seem to get. I don't know. I feel like they're on the periphery, and I don't think they should be. When we're talking about groups like Guy and Basic Black and New Edition and Belle Biv DeVoe, I think Troop for me are in that top 10 of male New Jack Swing groups for me. They're in the top 10. That's where it should be.
Yeah, I think I'm actually more saying that I think they're more than just New Jack Swing. I think as an R&B group, they they are really um, they actually, you know, vocally, performance, and unfortunately for them, when when they should have been at the peak of following what New Edition were doing, they just things just kind of went awry with them at Atlantic. But also, then they got management, and they got involved with MC Hammer and his brother to support them. But it, you know, very similar to a Jodeci and Suge Knight type of thing with Uptown. It didn't go well. Hence, you know, only three of them were on the Little Something Something album, and yeah, and they just got overshadowed when all the '90s R&B groups started to, from that '94, you know, H Town and Jodeci and all that stuff. So really disappointing how that turned for it. Welcome, Chin Beats, but yeah. I'm just waiting for John John to come in. But Sheldon, what about you? Because I mean, were you around during the time Troop came and were established?
Came out, it was again around the time where all of those groups were coming out at the time, and you know they had a lot of staying power, man. I think out of all those groups who come out between that like late '80s period till that at their peak, song for song, um, I think nobody they're like in those groups like in my top five in terms of that because like a lot of groups who had those star producers, it was more of a situation easily may be that producer's identity was very strong on those records. And sometimes when you have like those superstar high profile producers, they kind of overshadow the artist's identity. But when I went back and listened to Troop's catalog and just looked at who produced the records, who wrote the records or whatever, their identity, their vocal identity really stands strong. It's not overshadowed by the producers, regardless who was doing the record. And then one of the things, background vocals, because whoever produced those records, besides background vocals, well, I have the lead, everybody's
Oh,
singing back.
Sheldon, it looks like you. Sheldon, it seems as if you're cutting in and out.
You hear
No,
me?
we can't hear you anymore. Yes, yeah, we can hear you now. Yes, yeah. It felt
Can
like
you
you
hear
were
me?
cutting in and out. Yeah, yeah, we can hear you now.
I can
Yeah.
hear
There's
yeah,
a
so what I was
delay,
saying,
Sheldon. There's
okay.
two
So
delays
but
on
it
your.
is an R&B group, sometimes the okay. You all are
Oh, okay.
kind of hear me?
So,
I think we're going to struggle with Sheldon tonight. Try going out and coming back in.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
maybe
I'll do
try going out and come back in. Let's see if it works out.
We'll get
Um,
another line in.
but for yourself, Stevie, what was the first? Were you exposed to their debut album, or was it Attitude?
No, the first track I ever heard of Troop was "That's My Attitude." So that was probably the first record I heard, and then I didn't even realise they had an album before that till a few years later, and then obviously I got into the deeper album after the Attitude album, and but I went back to the first album. You have seen a growth, like Sheldon was saying,
Yeah,
a growth with whatever producer they use, the songs. I just think they're really, really strong group.
yeah. Oh, I think
yeah,
Sheldon
I
looks like
went
you. Oh, much better,
can
much
you
clearer. Yeah, we
okay.
can see.
Yeah, I went back and listened to that catalog, man, and the songs that were like the album cuts that weren't the singles, those were some great songs, man. And then they were produced very well. And I love how they incorporated the lead singer and the background vocals. Because sometimes you may have a lot of those groups from that time, the background vocals are like an afterthought. It's just there. or it's kind of mixed, kind of low. But yeah, those songs are really really good, man. Very
Yeah.
very good.
And I think one of the things you do notice is that actually when you do, because of having to listen to, I think, four of the albums this past week just to refresh my memory, the lyrics from the Troop album to the Attitude, to That's My Attitude, the Attitude album, then you get into deeper, and all of a sudden, they're not like "Can I hold your hand" and "You take my heart." It becomes a little bit deeper, and then you get to a little something something, and they go full of H Town R. Kelly, and I'm like, well, goodness, look at these kids, kind of grew up and just changed their whole persona, and it just feels strange, because I'm sure if you were back in the day listening to album, you probably went with the times and you probably wouldn't have noticed. But if you try and listen to the full catalog within a week, um, you would just
Well,
notice
that's it.
the lyrics change so
Between
quickly.
the Attitude album and the Deeper album, there's 3 years there. There's a 3 years gap, and on the Attitude album, it was very. You could tell that it had been production. Some of the it had been influenced by Bobby Brown. The whole "That's My Attitude" sounds like My Prerogative,
Oh
but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
still a great track.
yeah.
Whereas 3 years later, I think they're far more matured. They got a different. Dimitri Ship came along, which
Yeah.
wasn't on the previous two albums. So they changed. I'd say the Deeper album is far more influenced by the Jacksons. There's a heavy Jacksons influence on that
Actually,
album.
I did think the
So,
Deep album did. I think Dimitri did two tracks on the Bobby album, and I think he took some of that with him. So there was elements of the Bobby album. There were elements of the Jacksons. I mean, there's a one track that if I heard Michael sing it, that I would, what's it called? Strange Hotel.
yeah,
That
it was
would have
like
been a
the
Jackson.
Victory album to me. That
Yeah, they would have just felt like a Jackson track. So
I was concerned tonight that I didn't have a definitive number one favorite because I've got my favorite collection of traps, and I thought, have I really got a definitive number? But I realize I do have one, so that's good. Because I was just going to say, you know what? I'm just going to name my 10 favorite tracks, not do the countdown. Then I thought, no,
Okay.
I have got a number. There is a number one, and the
Okay.
rest can follow.
Well, we can start, and when
But
John joins
Namdi,
in. Okay, go ahead, Stevie. Yes, so Sheldon.
what you were saying before, as far as the lyrics, when you listened to the entire catalog, the reason why you see a shift in the lyrical content, even though you got, Steve, you know, writing or co-writing songs throughout the entire catalog, a lot of those songs, man, were written by older people. And obviously, these guys are teenagers when they're coming out, late teens, maybe early 20s, But the people who are writing and producing these records, man, they're older. So that's why when you look at the lyrical content, some of the songs in terms of the romantic storylines and everything, it's like you said, that "I Want to Hold Your Hand" aspect of it. They're written by older people who write in that particular style. That was like the style of people writing records in that age group. Think about it. They're 19 and 20, but some of these people who are writing these records, they're older, man. They might be, to 30 years old. So that's why you kind of see that shift, and then of course they're right in the pocket, within the age group, like when you go into deeper and everything else after that. So yeah.
Okay. So we're going to take a time out to welcome our good friend, Mr. John John. How you doing?
Good evening, afternoon, of course, morning. What's going on with y'all? Hey, y'all. I'm just getting home from church, got
Oh,
out of my
yeah.
clothes, and doing my attire, and so I can go ahead and get ready for y'all, and we can go ahead and do this interview, man. How you guys doing?
Yeah, let
Good
me
evening,
Doing
sir.
well, doing well.
introduce my brothers. I've got
All right,
Mr. Stevie Street up here and Mr.
all right,
Sheldon
all right, all
Taylor.
right, all right.
And
Yeah,
introduce
Nice to meet you,
Mr. John
brother.
John.
pleasure meeting you guys. Pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
I want to just say how much for guys who are watching in. John John has been from day one a massive supporter of what I'm doing here. I remember him just commenting on interviews and being positive. I'm like, what? This is John John from Troop, and this is his probably third or fourth time he's been on, and so he's been a massive supporter from before being on the channel. So I'm always appreciative of John John, and even the fact that you know, I knew in California it is about 1 o'clock, so quite early. But he says, okay, you know, I'm going to make it for you guys. So I really appreciate it, Jon Jon.
No, my pleasure, man. My pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you for getting Deal Vance as well.
Yes, Jon Jon's one.
Yeah, that's my that's my guy.
Yeah,
that's my guy.
But both Stevie and Sheldon, we're both all three of us are massive fans of Troop, and I think you'd find that we've been pushing you guys, you know, more than anyone else, because you know we feel like you guys didn't get the credit for both as recording artists and performers. So so this is going to be great. A great opportunity this evening and live audience. But anyway,
thank you.
Yes. So you guys, do we with Jon Jon here? And before we get into our top 10, let us start with the Troop album, because all of us, we all came into Troop at different stages. Stevie was saying he got in with the Attitude album. I got in with the Troop album. Sheldon, when did you sort of discover Troop? Which album was it? The first single, first album?
The Troop album, the very first album. First.
The very first album. How old were you guys when you recorded that album?
Wow. You must have been about at least maybe 17, 18, something like that, you know, recording that album.
Yeah,
something like that.
And I guess one of the things that because we've all had to listen to the whole catalog to prepare for tonight's episode, and one of those things we were just saying just before you joined in was the lyrics for the first album were very sweet, and you know, My Heart, and you know, Mamacita, very innocent and really nice. And by the time we get to Deeper, you know, you guys kind of say, yeah, we're gonna be, you know, we're moving into a more mature direction. How much did you guys contribute to the direction of the Troop album?
Actually, pretty much all of our albums, we dealt with, you know, especially like on the first album, it didn't matter who was writing or producing for us. It just had to be a great record, a good song, a great record. So, but you know, Steve actually wrote one of the songs on there called "Watch Me Dance." Alan and Steve had wrote with the guy, Tony Haynes. They wrote "Still in Love" together. And then pretty much the rest of the album was you know, written and produced by, you know, as far as like Brown Mark and Chucky Booker and Gerald. Zane Giles actually produced "Still in Love." Zach Harmon did the production for I'm Not, you know, for Young Girl, which Steve wrote that as well. So we pretty much made sure that it was going to be a good song, or if there was a track that needed to be written to, we just made sure that everything was supposed to be what it you know, what it came out to be, you know.
Okay. Stephen, Sheldon, any thoughts on any questions for Jon Jon about the debut album?
I'd say, like, we talk about production, like a track like Mamacita, you know, it does sound like a Levert track. It could have been a Levert single. And then you've got She's My Favorite Girl, which with the involvement of Z Luke guys, which again, that sounds like a Minneapolis, almost Prince funk sound. So it's like, how did you feel about the contrasting styles in production?
Well, you know,
at the time,
Z Luke had did, I think, or one of the guys' name is Art, had did the original track, and we liked it. We thought it was really cool, but Sylvia wanted to go ahead and let Chucky go ahead and produce it. So we were like, when she said that to us, after he had already did the track to My Heart, we were like, uh-oh, this is about to be something else, you know. So he actually put, there's another version that Chucky had did. It's like an 8-minute, 12-second version of it where it's like an extended mix where he did like some real funky things on the guitar and everything. He just like, he killed that thing, man. And we were just like really ecstatic over it. We were very happy about what he did, how he produced it. He was, you know, we called him like a little genius at that time because he was pretty much, you know, he was around our age and he was producing all of that music. And we were just like, this guy's like, wow, you know, it was like nothing that Chucky gave us that we would turn down. You know, Chucky was just that type of guy in the music that he did for us. We were just, we knew that we wanted to work a whole lot more with Chucky, you know. So that's what he gave us, you know, in the excitement of his production and what he used and how he was able to play all of the instruments with the bass and the guitar and the drums. It was just like he was, you know, our minds were blown.
Sheldon.
Is he still with us?
Yeah, he's still there. Well, okay. And Mac asked the question: how much
So what,
did the group's performance? Okay.
like with all the
Go
producers
ahead,
on the
Sheldon.
album?
Oh, what, your question again?
What was your rapport with all the producers on the album?
Thing is producers. 'Cause sometimes producers,
Yeah, the only one that was kind of really hard was Brown Mark. He was a great producer. You know, he came from the Revolution, so you know he expected top-notch class performance with the vocals. He did not play. Brown Mark was the one, I believe, he actually grew us up into making sure that whatever record that we did next, the vocals had to be what it's supposed to be. I mean, Brown Mark did not play. He did not play when it came for when it was time for us to cut those vocals for Happy Relationships. I mean, it was like, wow. I mean, he was a genius, but he was hard, but it was great for us because it made us better, you know.
One of the and Mark was asking because I think you guys have the record for performances on Arsenio Hall. Was it right? It was 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, 7 times.
7 times. So he was
7
asking
times with the performance of.
Yeah, he was asking, how do you think the performing on Arsenio Hall, how much did it really push you to the forefront of the public?
Oh, for one, his show was massive. It was, you know, it was late night TV, and he had so many viewers that watched the show. So we knew that when we were going to get our time to go ahead to perform on the Arsenio Hall show, that we had to bring it, and we had to bring it to the, you know, to the top-notch class that we brought it to, you know. His show and his energy was always hype. So, you know, when you have a show that's like that, you got to bring it, no question.
Yeah,
And so that's why he pretty much had us to perform. Yeah, that's why he had us to perform on his show so many times. We actually almost did it 8 times, but we were busy, so we were supposed to go on there and perform the song "I Will Always Love You" on there, but we were already busy. And so what he did after that, he had this other show that he was executive producer of called Party Machine. We were the first act to go on the show to open up that show. Wow. As far as the first performers. Yeah. Okay. And that was hosted by Nia Peoples.
Oh, okay, yeah. Who did I? Yeah, okay. I remember that show. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think of that album, because we're gonna, you know, Stevie's, Sheldon and I are gonna have our top 10 from your catalog. But when you think of that album, what would be your top 3 songs on the Troop album?
On the Troop album, top 3 what happened to be Mamacita, My Heart, still on the first 3 singles that came from it. Were like really, yeah. And but even as far as like performance, when it was time to go ahead to do a concert, we would add Young Girl and She's My Favorite Girl on the show. So it was pretty cool to be able to perform those 5 songs in our, when we were, touring in our heyday, with being on the road with Keith Sweat. Those were the songs that we were performing on stage, and it was just really, really cool to be able to add, 2 more songs to perform on the album and give the audience, uh, what they've been asking for the whole entire time. They was always asking, can you guys perform this song and perform that song and maybe get a chance to perform this song? So we finally were able to go ahead and do that for them for our first record, and it was pretty cool.
Okay. I because I don't want to spoil our top 10, and if I ask Stevie and Sheldon to give their top 3 songs of the album, it might sort of spoil the drama and tension of our list. But any other questions around the Troop album before we move to the Attitude album?
I just want to ask about Still in Love, which I think is a very, very special song. Working
Thank
with
you.
Zane Giles, who's a great, he's done so much stuff, How did he end up on the project?
He was given to us by Sylvia Rohn at Atlantic. She turned us on to him, and we had actually did a few demos with him, but that was the one that actually made it, to the album.
Sounds like the best one made it to me. It's very hard to beat that track.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that one, and there's also Young Girl as well. That sounds like stuff that New Edition would probably say. They wish they sang it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to probably the album that I think Atlantic pushed and promoted the most, which was the Attitude album, which I think it's almost as if it took you guys to another level. What was the idea? And it was actually within a year. But what was it? What was the thought process of, okay, you've just come out with the Troop album, Mamacita, and all these tracks were still hot, and then did you go straight back in the studio within a couple of months to start recording, or did you already have these songs from the debut album?
No, we started all over from scratch again, and we toured first. We did all of the touring that we could do from the first album, which was the first tour was like a 60 city promotional tour.
Wow.
Then we jumped on the tour with Keith Sweat, and we did that tour for about a good almost a year. We did the United States of America with Keith Sweat, and we went to London with Keith Sweat. So by the time that we were in London with Keith, we were already working on the second album.
Wow.
And we were getting calls, from the label and saying that they have this person to work with us, which the new person that was coming on board to be a part of the Attitude album was Joyce Irby in Dallas, Austin.
Yeah. Okay. Because Joyce might be coming on the show soon, but just to be diplomatic,
cool, yeah.
When you were in the studio, were both of them there, or did you was one more present in things than the other? Both Joyce and Dallas.
Dallas was in and out. He was in and out. He was there, but he was like in and out. And Joyce was there most of the time. But Dallas would come in and just make sure that everything was okay. And he, because Dallas was doing a whole bunch of stuff at the same time. Wow. So he would pop in and pop out to make sure that everything was okay. But for the most part of it, yeah, they were both there, just to make sure that everything was cool. And it was really, really cool working with them, because actually at that time, that's when Joyce had brought me in to be like the third lead singer for the group. So she actually discovered me to be able to, to sing on the song "I Will Always Love You."
Okay.
Yeah.
Sheldon. Okay, I want to show Sheldon's frozen. Stevie, do anything? Let me see if
Yeah, on this, I love this album cover. Did you actually take that photograph in front of those rocks, or was that superimposed?
One thing I noticed about
that were there. We were in I believe we were in the we were in the Mojave Desert, I believe, and those rocks were back there, and they had the moon that was they had the sun. I think that was the sun or the moon in the back. It was getting ready to go down, and so we caught that shot right before that it was getting ready to go down behind those rocks. So yeah, that was really out there in the desert.
Yeah.
What about the song? The song "Attitude" to me sounded a cross between Bobby Brown's "Don't Be Cruel" and "My Prerogative." Was that pressure to sound? Obviously, it was a massive hit back then, but was the pressure to sound that kind of way?
Well, it was something that Gerald had wanted us to do, so that's just what we did. That was Gerald whole orchestration. He orchestrated the whole thing, and mind you, you gotta understand this too. Gerald did a tour with Bobby after Bobby did the Any Heartbreak tour, and Al Heyman, the promoter, opened up, pulled Bobby from the Any Heartbreak tour to do his own tour. The Bobby Brown My Prerogative tour, and he had Karen White and Levert to open up for Bob. So around that whole time, Bob had got to know Gerald, and Gerald had got to know Bob, and and when it was time to go ahead to produce Troop's second album, he was like, I gotta do a little something, from off of Bob. So that's pretty much how I believe that it came about. That's how it happened.
How involved was Mark as well? Mark Gordon.
Mark was Mark was always there at the studio. It was more Gerald that worked with us on more of the vocals.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Gerald worked on us. He had already did music with Mark. They did the music, but when it was time to work on the vocals, Gerald was like more hands-on with us, working, make sure that the vocals was tight and everything.
Yeah. Okay. Sheldon's disappeared again. Yeah. Some of the tracks that let me try and remember. There was a few tracks that sounded like an LA and Babyface track, and that was the one that I think which is the one I think it was My Love. It sounded like stuff that LA and Babyface would have produced. I would see. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, totally. I'm got Soups as well.
Yeah.
To me, this was the hits album. This is album a hit. This is the one to listen to.
In fact,
which I believe that song almost became a single because Stevie Wonder's not KJLH. There was a station called 92.3 The Beat.
Yeah, I remember that station.
They actually played that song, My Love. And I remember it got a vote, a good 90-95% of people loved the record. And it was like, wow. So it was almost like that song became a single.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've got it, but yeah, that you had so many big tracks on that. I just quickly did a quick poll about 2 hours ago, and I put your first 4 albums out there, and about 600 people have voted, and 76% voted for Attitude as their favorite Troop album.
I believe it.
And followed by the Troop album, and we're going to get into Deeper, which is Stevie's one of his all-time favorite New Jack albums.
Wow.
Wow. But
cool.
But just to think about you were able to. Did you feel the label supported you guys on Attitude? Because I mean, I think you had 5 singles, and that came out for that stuff. I mean, did you guys get to pick what came out first and second, or?
No, it's at that time we knew that the record was a good record, so it really didn't matter which record that they wanted to go ahead to choose to be a single. You know what I mean? So what ended up happening is that the only thing that I wanted to happen that didn't happen is when they released I Will Always Love You. I wish they would have put a music video on it. I mean, I talked to to Sylvia about it, and it was, because it was at the time that everybody was kind of like redoing their songs, or it was going to be like a live version or a remix. And I asked for like all the above. And Sylvia was like, no, we just want to put the record out the way that it is. And when it came out, I think it went like number 34 or something on Billboard, and it began to drop. And then once it began to drop, then they put a remix on it. I was like, but that's what I asked for. I asked for that in the beginning, and that's what they should have did. Now, it would have boosted the record up a little better than it did, when it came out, as far as like chart wise on Billboard.
Yeah, I think also the other thing that we had was now you've heard Chucky, he's been on here, and he talks about "Spread My Wings" and the remix of he talks about well, he didn't name him specifically, but the executive at Atlantic who took his mix and switched it around. Did you guys know at the time that it didn't sound like what it was when Chucky recorded it with you guys, that when it came out, it was from the album was different?
Very upset about it, because when we got the first version from him, we liked what they did, but not really knowing that behind his back that they had someone else to do a mix. We didn't know. But that kind of makes me more frustrated to find out that that's what they did, because, like I said, Chucky's a genius. I mean, at the end of the day, the label doesn't have the gift. The artist does.
Mm-hmm.
So what they need to do is let the artist work with God where the gift came from, so that it could come out the way that it's supposed to come out, and not try to step on the producer's toes and trying to, because to be honest, it doesn't come out right that way. When the label should just go ahead and do the business and let them be business and do the business for the record, but not be a part of it. I mean, I get it, but they need to let the artist be the artist.
Yeah.
Let the producer be the producer. That's what we do. That's not what they do.
The best mix,
So,
did the best mix and Spread My Wings make this album? The mix that made this album, was that, in all honesty, was it the best mix, or have we not got to hear a better mix from Chucky Booker in your opinion?
it would have been a better mix from Chucky, because Chucky did it.
Okay.
That's just, it's my honest opinion.
Yeah.
It's another way of how the label can go ahead and pay somebody else to do something, because they owe a person a favor or something like that, probably. Yeah. So and they let someone else to go ahead to mix and master a song, versus, Chucky had everything in his facility to be able to mix and master a song. He has everything. Mm-hmm. So they might as well go ahead and just let him do it.
Yeah. I mean, the guy who took...
And if you think about it, it saves them even more money.
Mm. Yeah,
but sometimes they feel they have to go ahead and pay somebody something, so that's what they do.
Yeah, but the guy who did the mix was he was the senior VP of A&R at the label. So he
Marilyn Bob.
Yeah, so he was already. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like Suge Knight remixing, doing a mix for a song, and no one can stop it. So, but Sheldon, hopefully you're back with it.
He's really struggling tonight, isn't
he? Yeah,
struggling with his connection.
Yeah, I mean, gone again.
1989, we are in the midst of a New Jack Swing explosion. This album, the only thing that's missing on this album, because it's like when you read the credits, it's a who's who of New Jack Swing on this album. Obviously Teddy's missing, but he did the remix of "That's My Attitude." But
Attitude, yeah. Which Teddy slayed it, because he did 9 different versions of Attitude. He did 9 different remixes.
Wow.
I have them all. He did 9 different remixes of That's My
It's like
Attitude.
the original
Who
mix.
does that? That's an album full of. That's just an album right there. He did an album of just remixes of That's My Attitude.
I'm just looking
It's
at all
incredible.
Yeah, there's about 6 on this CD single.
Yeah, and there's some other ones that he did. There's some other ones.
Wow.
They didn't. All of them didn't come out.
Never
My
got to
goodness. Did you guys re-record the vocals, or he just took your vocals and just mixed them?
He just took the vocals and just redid the music and did his thing.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's hopefully we'll get to hear them. Let me see. Yeah, and I think I like the fact that like I think were you taking inspiration from Smooth Criminal in I'm Not Souped, the video?
Yeah. Well, for That's My Attitude, smooth
Oh, was
kind
that
of a
Attitude?
Smooth Criminal
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Attitude,
meets That's My Attitude. It's kind of like That's My Attitude meets Smooth Criminal meets it was a movie like a Dick Tracy type movie that had all the colors and everything with the outfit. So it was kind of like, like a Dick Tracy meets Smooth Criminal, type thing like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mac is saying said about you did 2 cover songs, the Jackson 5. I know Chucky talked about trusting him on that remix, but what was did you guys have any input in those covers, and did you have a favorite when you covered?
It was just All I Do Is Think of You, and it was always a favorite of mine. I've always loved it. Never knew that I would be a part of a group to be able to take that record and make it what it is today still. It was just always a beautiful song. I just ran into Jermaine Jackson Jr. and I was letting him know about the ad libs that his father had did, how they coincided with Michael's vocals. I just thought that it was just an amazing sound on what he did. It was just an incredible. The record was just a beautiful song. But then, years later, I'm a part of this group and we redo that same record, and Chucky Booker, the musician that he is, produces it.
Mm.
It's like, here we go again, So it was beautiful, a beautiful record, I remember riding down the street one day and the first song comes on is My Music, right? So when I get to the song of That's My Attitude, I'm just like really saying to myself, it is over. We got something really, really big here. And then after that, you get I'm Not Soup, then you get
My Love,
Attitude. It's just like they just kept coming. I was just like, the songs just kept coming. Then My Love comes on. I'm like, they just keep coming. Then here comes Spread My Wings. I'm like, they just keep coming.
Yeah.
All I do is think they just keep coming. I Will Always Love You. They just keep coming. The songs just keep coming. They were just great records. So it was a great time and a great album. And I have to go ahead and agree with those people as far as like, that voted 76%. Everybody was talking about the Attitude album was just like, their favorite. I get it. I get it. I really get it, because at that time, of course, we hadn't started that third album process, but even before the Attitude album was released, it was just a great time for music, and it was a great time for the surge of New Jack, and it was just crazy. So, and I didn't meet Michael until after I'm Not Souped came out. So Souped was out when I met Michael. So it was just a great time, a great time.
Chimpy Sachs did if Give It Up was inspired by Keith Sweat. How Deep Is Your Love? Was that on the Deep album, Stevie?
It's a deeper album.
Yeah,
Absolutely, that's a deeper album.
Yeah, actually, I think it was. Yeah, How Deep Is Your Love? I listened to it and it did sound very similar to that. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that for those who might not have listened to your story about the first time you met Michael, can you just share briefly, because when we get to the deep albums, what Stevie was, okay, Stevie, tells Jon what your thoughts were on the deep album, and then Jon can tell his story about when he first met Mike.
I'm going to contrast two albums here. You've got what I call This the Hits album. If you're looking for an instant, an instant, this is the one. But what this for me, when you look back at, for me, this album is an unsung masterpiece. Let me just rephrase that. This is a masterpiece, because I feel like when you buy an album that's got a concept to it and a theme, like say, Marvin Gaye, I Want You. It's a whole theme running through that. You get albums that you play from start to finish. It takes you on a journey. There's storylines going on, because there's stories with women going on in this album when you get to the ballads on the second half of the album. That's what I'm saying is, you're not, it's not an instant album, this. You've got to grow with it. And I think once you grow with it and you let it in, you realise, I just think it's far more accomplished, production-wise, vocal-wise, song-wise even. It's the whole package, comparing it. But that to me is a hits album. It's the chart hits album. But for like, I just think as a concept and a theme, this is an absolute masterpiece. And I urge people to this album to really just take it. Namdi, you've only heard it in the last few weeks. You need to grow with this album, mate. Seriously. You're going to come back to this in years to come and go, Steve, I know it was, it's a long album. But that's what I feel about anyway.
So when you listen to songs like Strange Hotel, it sounded like something that Michael would have recorded on a History album. Was there a part of you guys that thought about, it felt like he did an updated version of Dangerous meets History, but was that in the back of the mind when you guys were recording some of the tracks on there?
Yes, it was. No, without a doubt. Yes, it was. Why try to reinvent the wheel? It's like, that's a hard thing to do, as far as like trying to do something. You have to do what feels good and what comes to you, and those are the ones that like really work, because they actually come to you. So you're just doing what comes to you naturally, and that's, it's a no-brainer to go ahead and do something like that, and it feels good at the same time. So being able to record that album was just like, it was remarkable. I mean, with getting the producer Demetrius Shipp Senior, and he produced those 3 tracks with Keep You Next to Me, She Blows My Mind, and I'm Not Gaming. I mean, that new Jack sound that he was doing was like really awesome. And he actually came from Teddy's camp. So, he worked with Teddy on the Bobby album. He helped Teddy do
That's the Way Love Is.
That's the Way Love Is. It's another one too. I think it's like 2 or 3 songs on that album that Demetrius helped Teddy to do. And so he just, that's what he gave us. He gave us that, that new Jack swing funk, and it just worked out. It was just, the songs were incredible. The songs were incredible.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of. I'm going off the unsung though. Was there a bit of fighting going on within the group during this album? Was there something?
Wait, say it again.
Was there some sort of was there a battle going on between the group during the recording of this album? I'm just going back to the unsung.
No. I think the battle was between how many songs that Steve was going to do, or how many songs that Alan was going to do. Rodney, Reggie, and myself, we didn't care. You know, we're choreographers. We're writer. We can write. We can produce, but we at that time we were more focusing on our choreography and just making sure that whoever was sending those songs to us, that they had to be great records. So majority ruled on when the songs came in and we voted.
Mm-hmm.
And so me, Rodney, and Reggie would, we get the music and we get to ourselves and we would listen to everything and say, is it a yay or a nay? And we just voted. Steve was just doing some really good stuff. That's all. He was doing some really good stuff. He did Come Back to Your Home. He helped out, and he did I think he helped out with Alan and with one of our band directors, Greg Coffin, and they did Whatever It Takes to Make You Stay. And then you had Steve that just kept doing stuff like, he produced Only When I Laugh. He produced Set Me Free. I mean, come on, man. He was just doing some good stuff, and we were just like, yep, yep, yep,
You
yep.
can't
He just kept
argue
going.
those
Yep,
records. You can't argue.
that Deeper album was something else, man. You're right. It was something else. And it was just the production of it was just like turn up time. It was like times 10, And like I said, we all learned from working on our first 2 albums, knowing what we wanted to do and what we wanted to have for the future for Troop, and do things ourselves as well too. So Steve became one of the main guys in the group that would go ahead and have production on an album, and Alan would go ahead and put up his 2 or 3 songs or whatever, and they would make the record. So
the title
it's
cut,
just what it was.
even the title cut,
Yeah.
Deep, right? So after the verse and the chorus have done, and you just let the music play, it's like a movie. It's almost movie-esque.
Like a movie.
Where that came
It's like
from?
a movie. Yeah.
Where did
It's like a movie.
Whose idea was it to get? Because this is a great thing. You got Walter and Scotty from the Whispers. You got them on board on I Feel You. Where did that?
Yeah. Well, see, that song was actually supposed to be for an artist that was on Busted Records. His name was David Black.
I remember.
And I guess he just had too many. He had too many tracks on his album. So we were like, shoot, we'll take it. And we'll have the Scots to be with us on the record. Yeah, David Black. Yeah.
Wow.
Which Steve produced a lot of that record too.
Mm-hmm. I never knew that. I remember the David Black album. It just came and went. That album, it just didn't really take off, did it?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, not really. Steve had produced Steve Russell. He had produced David Black, Special Generation's second album, and I think he also worked with BNGB as well too.
Yeah,
it's interesting that Chucky mentioned that Steve was really interested in how to produce from the very first album. He took that and he took what really. I think one of the issues that came out with Deeper was I think the singles that were released weren't the strongest ones. I think there were much stronger singles that could have been released off that album that would have done. I think Sweet November is an okay song, but it shouldn't have been I think when I look at that album, I think I Feel You. I think I'm Not Gaming.
Yeah.
My Mind, she blows my mind. I think even the Deeper, I think those were better singles that could have come out and really have pushed that album. I think that the 3 singles that came out were really Whatever It Takes. That was like really almost took you guys back 5 years. It almost like it wasn't a hitting single, and that to me was probably one of the fact that this was your 3rd album. Did you guys not have any say in what comes out first and stuff?
No, not really. Once you're signed, especially to a major label, your job is just to go ahead and turn in the album. And if they like a song, I mean, they may. See, there's a situation that also took place at that time. We had signed to Busted Management. The label didn't like that, so they were obligated to go ahead to do what they wanted to do, to release whatever single that they wanted to release, so it could be like at that time for Troop being on our way like down, because we did a management decision that they didn't like. You know, they didn't get along with MC Hammer's brother at all. So because they didn't get along with MC Hammer's brother, that's why the Deeper album did what it did, because he managed that album.
Yeah.
So if we would have been with our first management, if we would have been with our first management company and just worked everything out with them and having that Deeper album, either She Blows My Mind or Keep You Next to Me or I'm Not Gaming would have been one of the first singles.
I can understand Sweet November being released. You know, you'd already a massive hit with All I Do, which was a cover. This is another cover. Probably Atlantic thought it's a safe option. This it's a cover. It's people know the song from the deal. Let's run with it. And like someone said in the comments, it went to #1. So I understand that decision.
Yeah, but they didn't have staying power.
That wasn't even a radio that wasn't even an Atlantic Records situation. Wow. That was a radio situation, because radio stations had began to play Sweet November, just like what happened a long time ago with All I Do Is Think of You. It wasn't their decision to go ahead to release the record to be the next single after Spread My Wings. At nighttime, all of the radio stations was playing All I Do Is Think of You. Quiet Storm, they was playing All I Do Is Think of You. And it was blowing up. So it just made sense to go ahead to release that to be the next single. And so, because like I said, radio.
How did you feel like 3 years on? Because you'd obviously, you was on a wave with the Attitude album. How was you feeling about this album, being involved in the group, the way music was evolving? Because New Jack Swing, obviously, it was probably the final year of New Jack Swing. We went into more harder hip hop soul after that. How was you feeling during this time? Can you remember? It was a long time ago.
No, I can remember, I wasn't really feeling too good at all, because, like I said, the label didn't like the management company.
Okay.
So they let the album come out after the third single, Give It Up. That was it. It was over. They put the album on the shelves and didn't sell the album anymore. So it's like, if you can't buy it online, then you might not be able to find it at all anywhere. And if you do find it online, it's because somebody is selling it to you, and it's not even a company probably. It's because maybe someone has a whole lot of CDs and they'll go ahead and sell you that CD. Other than that, you can't find that CD in record stores anymore. You can't go to Target or Walmart.
Send you out to radio stations and record stores to do interviews and signings and things like that. Did they push you to do that at the time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens where so maybe the hardcore New Jack fans would rave about Deeper, great tracks, but because it didn't get the push like the Attitude album, you couldn't really enjoy it, and that's always Troop aren't the first. Go ahead.
And if you think about it, the Deeper album was supposed to be an explosion. To be honest, it was supposed to. If we had stayed with the same management, the Deeper album would have went through the roof, because we were with a management company that liked, the label liked them. We were turning a great album. They just, that's why that it just didn't work out. The label did not like Louis Burrell. They didn't like that guy. So of course, if your label was not liking your management, it's going to have your however you feel about the album that you're on, it's not going to feel good at all. It's just not going to feel good. It's not. You
You
know,
know, when
there's already differences. There's already differences. You know, so when there's differences, it's not a good thing.
yeah, I mean, we talk about the creative, the people who make the music, like you guys, with your producers and writers. Then you get
Yeah.
the business people who are thinking about the money. You know, could be the label thinking how much we can get from them. You can a manager trying to get the best, but then button heads. Same thing happened with Profile management, and the same situation. I think 702 mentioned when they were doing the Star album, management and the label, and the label just said, "Well, forget it then." And so, what's in the middle is the artist, and then the fans who get left out. And then it's all in the past. We can't go back and rewrite that. As a group, you could tell that you're not getting the support of the label, because I started to talk about how the Attitude album had 5 singles, 4 videos. You were on Arsenio doing a lot of performance, so you could see that you got a lot of push from the label. When you were seeing this happening, it was, I guess, are you guys powerless when the label's just shutting the doors and not getting radio and everything to push out? So
Yeah.
are you able to go on tour? What are you able to do?
Maybe just to be able to do some dates here and there, which we did a few dates here and there. We did some dates off of that album. We were able to play Prince's Club Glam Slam. We did that. We did some other shows for some other different radio stations around the country. So we did some stuff. We did a little bit of stuff.
Okay. Now we get to because there are 2 other albums after that. We've got Little Something Something, and we have Mayday. On Little Something Something, which now was on Busted Records, there's only three out of the 5 members of Troop on there.
There's only 2. There's only 2 real members, and they put Dimitri Ship into the group.
Oh,
that's Dimitri Ship in the middle.
I remember it coming in the record shop. It came out of nowhere, and I'm like, this is true. I couldn't believe it.
Okay, Mitch. I thought he was just producing the stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I interviewed Dimitri for about. Mac, you asked about Dimitri Ship Jr., who played Tupac, because that's the son of Dimitri Ship, and that's his son.
Yeah, that's his son.
I have a 3.5-hour interview with Dimitri, but he talks about his growing up in LA, going to jail, and it actually I was off for 3 months after the interview. It was really heavy, and he talked about a lot of stuff, but I can't remember. It was really heavy because he's a real deep guy. He went through a lot and stuff. But anyway, okay. Just that I didn't realize he's.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't mean to cut you off. This is what I was meaning to say about the Deeper album was supposed to go through the roof after that Attitude album. You got to remember, we just finished doing a successful tour with MC Hammer. We did we did all of that. Arsenio Hall, all of that stuff. New Jack City. So doing New Jack City. After that, the Deeper album was supposed to just go straight through the roof, but it didn't, like I said, because of the change of the management.
Okay.
So that's my fault. That's what I was trying to tell you.
No, I think you did put that across. You tell us about the management situation. That's why the album didn't blow up as what it was expected. You know, I mean,
right.
It's hard to ask you about this album because you weren't part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, is it hard? With respect, are you okay talking about this, or do you want us to? I'm being respectful here.
The album was great. I mean, it was good. I wish they would have changed the name because it wasn't the original members on on that album. I was trying to tell them that it should have been like Russell Ship McNeil, and that's what they were going to do. But Lewis said if he was going to sell any records, he had to use the Troop name.
Mhm.
So, but like I said, the album was great. It's just that the credits, when you open the credits and you read the credits, it's the credits that actually did the group an injustice, like big time. Because of that album and because of what they said in the credits, it actually got the group to be blackballed from the music industry.
Wow,
Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I think when you think about, I think Rift had the same situation, did with that. But coming back to that, then I think because when I listened to the album, and it felt as if okay, very much on the line of H Town, and
Hmm.
and I was speaking earlier about the fact that your first two albums, the lyrics were very much very respectful, very loving. You get to the little something something album, and then it was almost like the sign of the times. Let's do knocking the boots. Let's try and move into that direction. And I think fans of Troop would have been like, this is there's a big shift. It's almost like New Edition. They kind of stayed in a lane,
Hmm.
singing love songs and being mature with their audience. And I think that with that album, it's almost as if it moved away from that. Um, how
Yeah.
then did you guys reconcile to come back and do? Is it Mayday?
Well, the group, we sat down, we had a meeting. Alan and Steve, they apologized for doing what they had did and how everything had happened. And there was a situation on the table for us to go ahead to do another project, and we just said, okay, let's try it. And that's how the Mayday situation came along.
What did you think about because being independent? I take it you guys that left Busted at this time.
Yeah, yeah. Alan and Steve had formed a company called Action Entertainment and got a distribution deal with Warrior Records, the company, Jim Irvin, and that's how we were able to go ahead to do the Mayday album.
Okay, but by this time, then, I mean, I guess we're looking at about when it came out, about '98. I mean, the industry,
1998. Yeah.
yeah. So we're thinking about. I'm just trying to think about. You had Bad Boy, the whole Bad Boy stuff running.
Hmm.
So the music, the kind of music that we're getting, there's a lot of incorporation of hip hop. What do you think
Yeah.
happened to how the album was received, especially with the music that was out at that time?
Well, the people that actually heard it, they really enjoyed it. They liked it. They liked the Mayday album. They thought it was like a part two of Deeper, to be honest, production wise, and how the music it came out and the vocals and the songs that we sang about on the album. A lot of people, they really liked the Mayday album.
Yeah, but I think in those days, without one of the big labels pushing it, I know I think I think
Right.
without the big label pushing it and getting it into the shops and the videos and on radio, it can become
Hmm.
hard to really make a dent, especially around that time where you
Yeah,
know the,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But were you
Yeah.
guys able to
Without the
tour
big
then?
push. Well, we did some promotional touring off of that, and we got a chance to do some other dates after that. Some other paid dates. Wasn't a lot of paid dates, but we did get some paid dates off of that album as well. But we got back friendly again a little bit with radio, and radio liked what they heard from us. They liked the singles Parlay. They liked Audacity. They actually liked Over the Moon as well too, but we didn't get a chance to go ahead to release that as a single. But it was overall we were able to pick up a few gigs from that album as well too.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? How is it like then? Around this time, I think okay, 2 years earlier, New Edition had reformed. and they were, they did the big
Yeah.
Home Again tour. And when we think about the time that they came out with Heartbreak, and then they broke up, and then it went their separate ways, and you guys were filling in that void because they weren't around, and it felt as if, on the unfortunate thing is that with the Deep album, as we spoke about there, that could have been the opportunity to fill the void that was left with New Edition, and take things to another direction. I guess hindsight is always hindsight. Do you guys, have you guys put that to the past and not look back and think, it was just a bad moment, but when we think about ourselves today, we're just in a different space, or there's still regrets?
Yeah, yeah. That's where we're at now. There's no regrets. We still love each other. We still pray for each other. We still come together to rehearse, and we're getting dates. The 28th will be in Bethesda and near Baltimore, Maryland, and on the 29th we'll be in Chicago. The 30th, there's a big thing going on for us in Los Angeles where we're getting a Lifetime Achievement Award from President Joe Biden's office.
Wow.
So there's some things in the works that's going on. We just received also our doctorate awards. We graduate December the 15th for that. So it's some things down the pipe still that's going on.
You have a show with Christopher Williams. Where and when is that?
Yeah, that's in Bethesda. That's on the 28th of June. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know we sadly lost Reggie during at 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But now
March 14th, 2020.
Yeah. But okay, but I'm only seeing three of you now. What's happened now?
Yeah. Rodney is not able to fly right now. He has to get like a letter from his doctor saying that he can fly. He had a situation.
Okay.
He had a situation where he had to go get some surgery taken care of. He's pretty soon he's gonna be talking. He has about maybe 2 to 3 more months to go through what he has to go through. Then he'll be back with us fully again.
Okay.
We just did a podcast show. The four of us, for the actor Ro Brooks. He has a podcast show that he does. So we were on his show, and Rodney performed with us on that.
Okay.
So he'll be back. He has a couple of months to go through, but he'll be
Okay,
back.
so he's still with
And
the okay.
Yeah, and he's going to share his story. Yeah, he's going to share his story about what happened, and he's just going to share his story about what happened. But
Okay,
yeah, he's doing a lot better now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just so the fans would, because they may start seeing pictures of three guys and thinking, okay, but Rodney's still with True. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Stevie, you're trying to come in?
I was just about to say, in general, because we've, R&B New Jack fans, we've always supported the groups, whether they were female or male. And we've heard countless stories of groups either falling out about money, ego, or management, or label disputes. I think generally fans suffer because of it. I don't know if the group's aware of that. We as fans who buy your records, go and see your tour, we suffer along with you. And I think now, because we realise now, because we're all of a certain age, we've seen these stuff, we've all grown up, we realise that life is too short. And I think the most important thing is what you're doing now, and that is to tell your story, to keep the legacy of the group going. At least you're connecting with your fans still, which is a great thing. And I think that's all we ask really is, keep that connection with us. Try and just keep the name out there, because you've got great history of great music. Whatever disputes or you've had with all the members and labels, you've got a fantastic back catalogue of music here that when we've all got our daughters, our sons, they're going to go through our collections and go, who are these guys? Troop, let me play this. And then they're going to go, wow. And it's just, it will live forever, I think. As long as we can play music, your legacy will live forever, So, like you say, keep
Absolutely.
keep telling that
Absolutely.
story.
I'm a believer in that. Yeah, I'm a believer in that. As long as the music is still here, then the artist is still here as well too.
Yeah.
Because we can always pull that artist out anytime that we want to. So as long as the music is here, then the music will stay here and the people will keep playing and keep listening, you know. So
You know, like I say, though,
that's the best
fans,
thing.
we suffer. Guy fans, we've suffered years as Guy fans, as Troop. You know, I mean, oh, the list could go on. We suffer with you.
So, well, unfortunately, our third member Sheldon is having technical difficulties, so he can't join us. But so what we're doing now, John, is that we prepared our list of our top 10 favorite songs by Troop, and we're going to start from 10 to 1. I'm sure that if you look at the Troop catalog, you can think about your top 10 songs. So as I go, then Stevie goes, then we'll ask you what would be your number 10 track. And at least you can, we can then be able to see what will be your number 1. All of us at the end. So I'm going to start it off. And if I looked at what makes number 10 on my
thinking to do here now, you're giving some thinking to do here, Namdi.
Yeah, but no, Jon would. I mean, he knows. When he looks back at the albums, he'll know what his top 10 would be. We got. You know. So when I was thinking about, I had 3 songs that I was thinking about getting into my top 10. I'm only going to do one because if you ever watch our show, people like Stevie and Sheldon will start to put 2 songs at number 10 or 2 songs at number 2. I was struggling to see which of these 3 songs I was going to put into my top 10. I think Come Back to Your Home, I'm Not Souped, and Strange Hotel. But I think just for the staying powder, goodness, it's hard, but I was going to sing. I think number 10, I think it's Come Back Home. Come Back to Your Home. It will be in my number 10.
Froze on us.
I'm a big. Okay. I wonder. Yeah, but that was a close. Okay, I think he has frozen, but hopefully we can get him back. Yep. I'm not sure what's happening in the US, guys, because it's Sheldon.
Maybe it's that weather you're talking about. Who knows?
There's bad weather, but okay, you guys who are out in the States, you can let us know. Is the weather so bad because Sheldon just can't get back in, and Jon.
Or maybe something chicken rice and peas. Maybe I'm not sure without going.
Yeah. So as I said, there were tracks. I was struggling to see which of them were number 10, but I've got Come Back to Your Home as my number 10,
and that was on the Deeper album.
Yes, wow. It was on the Deeper album. I think Deeper album had really good ballads. I think they had some really good ballads. Jon Jon's out in Los Angeles. Hopefully, here he is.
Sorry about that, my man.
No, it's fine. Are you guys having issues with the weather? Okay. Yeah, so I was just saying that my number 10 track would be from the Deep album, "Come Back to Your Home." That's my number 10 track and I'm going for all the albums.
Good one.
Yeah. Okay. Stevie, what's your number 10?
All right.
And then what's your number 10, Stevie?
There's an absolute gem tucked away on this Mayday album. I always thought should have been a single, but to me it's like Spread My Wings Part 2.
Fly away. Yes, sir. Yeah, Stevie. Fly away. Yep. That's a good one. That's I would say, and see, a lot of people don't know this. You got Spread My Wings, right? That's like part 1. Part 2 would be Set Me Free. Part 3 would be Fly Away.
We will get to that, Gem. Don't worry. We'll be getting to that, Gem. I tried to tell Namdi about that track. He's not convinced yet.
Okay. So anyone who's just come in, Ray, so welcome. My number 9.
Hold on. We've not got to Jon Jon.
Oh, Jon Jon. Sorry. What's your number 10? So we, what
10.
would be?
Man, I might have to say fly away, man. I might have to say fly away would be
Great
one of my
choice.
10. Yeah, that man. Wow. Yeah, that's a great one.
Okay.
I would say I have to agree with you, Stevie. Fly away.
Okay. So, for anyone who's just joining, we're counting down our top 10 favorite songs from the Troop catalog, and we've got our special guest, Jon Jon from the group Troop. My number 9 is the debut single, Mamacita. I mean, being in Nigeria, a lot of
All right.
us really related to the track, just because of we didn't understand what you probably hadn't heard Mamacita before and stuff, but it just felt real funky, and we, as kids, we just
Mm-hmm.
loved the whole name and how you guys danced to it and stuff. And also, I think I
Yeah.
liked the fact that you had two lead singers going between the stuff,
Yeah.
and that was, there was a big push for just one lead singer and stuff. So I liked the way that it was there. So my Mamacita is my number 9.
Mamacita. So glad to meet you. No, it was such a funky little record, that very catchy. It was a good single, good choice, Namdi. My number 9, I went for the controversial album. There's a track on here called Around, which it's a mid-tempo track, really good chorus to it. It's just a very strong track from this very controversial album, Around.
Okay. Yeah, I think I didn't pick any from that album because I think in some ways they all sounded really good, but they sounded the same. But and I didn't realize
Go back to that track again. Have another listen to it.
Yeah. Okay, Jon Jon, what would make your number 9 then?
Is he driving? Looks like he's driving.
Yeah. Let me go back to the house, man. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not getting a good reception where I'm at. Let me get back.
Okay.
I was all right so far. Okay,
Yeah.
because I've turned around. I see everything now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but what number
So
9?
you
What would
said
be your number?
you said number 9. You said number
Yeah.
9 is Mamacita for you.
Yeah, well, that was my number 9.
For
Yeah.
me, number 9 would probably be my song. You Take My Heart With You.
From the Deeper album.
Yeah, from the Deep album.
Okay.
It's a great track. It's a great track.
That's a good one. Okay, so number 8 for me, and well, I'm not doing any remixes and stuff. Was That's My Attitude. I love
Nice.
the production and the way the music went through it, and really loved that track. It was different. It was unique. It wasn't, and I don't know if anything else was out that was similar to that. So yeah. So that's My
But
Attitude.
is that okay? Is that LP version or remix?
No, I would always go LP. I don't do. I mean, unless we're doing an episode on remixes, I like to just do the album versions
Okay.
because some of the deep cuts, some of the albums, I have some deep cuts that weren't released that are in my top 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean we've got the remixes and stuff, but just the song itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stevie, you're number 8.
I get it.
Number 8, I've taken a track from the debut album. I'll be honest, it's become a recent fave. I've been playing it a lot over the last year. She's My Favorite Girl for the Minneapolis
Nice.
production and the involvement of Z Luca, one of my favorite New Jack groups as well. They partly wrote the song. Again, just shame weren't a single, but I just think it's just become a recent favorite. It's made my number 8. She's my favorite girl.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. I guess
What about yourself?
I guess it's my turn then.
Yeah, you're number 8.
I guess my 8. Let me see. 8 would probably be the soundtrack to New Jack City.
Living. Okay. For the Love of Money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Big single.
yeah.
With Latifah.
I gotta go with that. Yeah,
Okay.
I gotta go
Yeah,
with that.
yeah. I mean, because that soundtrack is, anyone that's featured on that soundtrack, man,
It's
that it
massive. It was
yeah,
massive. They did yeah.
that was a major. That's one of those for the culture. I think.
I mean, think about it. Think about it, man. You got you got Johnny Gill, Keith Sweat,
Guy,
Troop,
yeah.
Guy.
Color Me Bad with that
I mean that
Christopher
you got
Williams.
Color
Yeah.
Me Bad,
Yeah.
Christopher. That man. Then you got Ice T.
Mm.
I mean that whole soundtrack was
No
crazy.
skips. No skips on the album
No,
at
no,
all.
no. Yeah.
Man, no skips. Yeah, no
Yeah.
skips.
Yeah. That's that.
Yeah, no skips.
Okay.
Even there's a song. Even there's a song on there also too. I believe that I think it was called. I think it was FS.
Full Swing Effect.
I forgot that. Yeah, and I think Dave Hollister was a part of that group.
Mm.
No, that track
I think he was on.
by Al B. There's an Al B Shaw Full Swing Effect. He was
It was a song. It was a song.
He was part of Force One Network with Tupac.
Force One Network. Yes, yes.
He was part of them. But Full Swing.
That was a bad record.
They were signed.
That was a bad record too.
They had a couple of tracks with Al B.
Yep.
As I do remember.
Yeah, they sure did.
But yeah.
Yeah. That was a great song on the soundtrack too. Yeah.
Okay.
Spirit.
Okay. Yes. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, you're jogging my memory.
Yeah,
now.
that was it. That was it. Yeah.
Oh, that was on Boys to Hood. Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood. Yeah. Okay.
That wasn't Hood. Yeah. Love that record.
I'm gonna go to. I'm just gonna go to my number 7, and actually a song that I think should have been a single. I actually thought it should have been the first single that came out on that track, and it was My Music. That was to me.
Oh wow!
Proper New Jack Swing track like that. I was like, man, how come they didn't release this track? Who was rapping in it?
Yeah. Wait, that was all of us rapping.
Oh, see that they should have brought a video for that one. Yeah, I loved. I thought I loved the track and stuff like that. I discovered Truth.
That was your dad Dallas Austin track. That with Joyce Benderella Irby.
Dallas Austin and Joyce. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that was a real funky track. That one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my number 7. Stevie, what's your number 7?
My first entry into the chart for the Deeper album, I've gone with "I'm Not Gaming" with Dimitri Ship on production.
Nice.
The New Jack track.
Yep.
I'm not gaming on you, so yeah. Tough New Jack track for that.
I thought it'd be higher, but hey.
I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that same album and say "Set Me Free."
Wow.
That would be that'd be 7 for me. Set Me Free.
Epic record. An absolute
a Jackson 5 track or the Jackson track.
Show you the way to go.
Yeah.
yeah. That's
show you the way to go. Yeah.
Do you know what the best bit of that record is? It gets to the mid-8, breaks down, and then there's all those ad-libs. Is it from Steve at the end? Girl, you let me down. It comes back. Girl, you Girl,
got all of that from Michael. Yeah.
I did not want that record to end then. And then it fades out. I'm like, no, it didn't. It fades out.
Awesome record.
Because I remember I showed you, Steve, yesterday we were talking the Men of Vision. Let me show you the way to go, and I said that there's some similarities, even though that one came out later. But it just, I listened to it and there's some similarities there. My number 5 is going back to the Attitude album, and
we're on number 6, Namdi.
Oh, is it number 6? Sorry, yeah, my number 6. My Love. Love that track.
That's a good one.
Yeah. As I said, it was that. In fact, I had to discipline myself to not put too many of the tracks on Attitude album in my list. But that to me was
a lot of them.
A swinging track as well.
Yeah, it was a
Steve,
lot
what's
of
your number 6?
I've gone back
I
to
would
the
always-
first album again. No, are we on? No, we on Jon Jon's pit? Or is it?
No, it's yours, Stevie. Number
No,
6.
sure, it's yours. Yeah.
I've gone for My Heart, the Chucky Booker track, produced track. My Heart.
Okay.
I love the video and the dancing in it, and and it's just a very catchy record. It's a very memorable record, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. What about yourself, Jon Jon?
My 6, I would have to say, I'm gonna go down to the Mayday album and say Over the Moon.
I need to replay that again.
Yeah. Replay that one. Replay that one, Stevie. Play that record.
Right now. Yeah, I need to replay that.
Yep. Over the Moon.
Over the Moon. Wow.
Okay. Yes.
Tell
Okay.
you what, we're over the moon to have Jon Jon tonight, and all our live listeners tuning in. Waiting for this top 10 rundown.
Yeah. Well, halfway through, my number 5 is from the Deep album. I'm Not Gaming, which I thought it was really good. Was that Dimitri on the production with that?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you could tell
So you
he
got
just
another track from Gaming from the Deeper. You got another track from the Deeper album in there.
Yeah, you could tell that he had because when I interviewed Dimitri, he spoke about working on the 2 tracks on the Bobby album, and then moving back to LA to work with you guys. So you could tell that he took. There's a lot he gave to Teddy's team, but there's a lot he said he took and learned from working with Teddy, and you could see that in the production on the Deep album. So yes, I'm Not Gaming number 5. Stevie, what's your number 5?
I'm still on the Deeper album again, and I've gone for Keep You Next to Me. Big up tempo. That was a big one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Keep You Next.
Wow.
It had like a go-go as well. I felt at the time.
Yep.
That was rattling
Yeah.
behind.
You guys are grabbing them. Okay. Let's see. You said 5, right?
Yeah,
number
5,
5.
right? Let me go. Okay, let me say Attitude. Let's go with I Will Always Love You.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a good one. My number 4 is I'm going back to the Troop album. Really loved this track, and as I said, it was a track that when I listen to the lyrics of this, and I'm listening to that and thinking about where you guys went to with the Deep album, but Young Girl.
Okay.
I just love how tender the track is. It's like Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
I just love the how tender yeah. So Young Girl was really it was a hard one. It just made my top 4. Yeah, and as I said,
that's Still in Love. The one that said Jack and Jill in it. That's Still in Love.
Okay. So, but Young Girl, I kept playing over and over again. But Young Girl's my number 4. Yeah,
and then that's Still in Love.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, but the Young Girl's my number 4.
Sing the song you're talking about, because I think you got mixed up here.
No, I know it's. Yeah, I mean, it's Young. Yeah, I can sing. Well, I can't go lyric to lyric, but yeah, I know I was mixing the 2 up, but yeah, it's still Young Girl.
Fair enough.
What about yourself, Stevie? What's your number 4?
Number 4 is That's My Attitude, or album mix remix. It's made my top 5. Huge. It could have been my number 1, but the 3 before it are far. I listen to a lot more now, but That's My Attitude is number 4. Like you say, it's a great. It's a classic New Jack Swing cut. If you're into Bobby Brown, it's right up there with that. So definitely. I wonder what happens to Sheldon. I wonder where Sheldon got to this evening.
Yeah,
I could get his comments as well. He's just not. He must have totally gone offline.
I'm not sure what's the deal is because it's been he went from his laptop. Okay, Jon Jon's back. Okay, there you are. So, Junior, we're now doing number 4. What makes you number 4?
Oh, don't think he's with us.
Okay. Yeah, there is. Yeah, Junior, what's your number 4? Oh, can you hear us? No. Yeah, Junior, can you hear us? Ah. And it's so strange that it's the so for anyone watching around the world, Stevie and I are both in the UK, and Sheldon and yeah, both in the US. John, can you hear us?
I think he's struggling.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is happening. Yeah, I'm not sure. He just came back and I wonder if he can still hear us and stuff. No, it's gone off. Yeah, it seems strange.
What's happening on Thursday night, Namdi? You might as well give Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night. The New York hip hop group Stetsasonic. They just recently had an unsung that just came out, and so they have a new album that is coming out. That I think that's just out, and so they're coming on live to talk about their album, and just their influence in the hip hop industry and things like that. So
you'll be talking all that jazz with them, will you?
Well, I mean, it'd be interesting I mean, I think the Roots have taken that sort of mantle of that kind of live musician and live music and hip hop and stuff. So I guess it'll be interesting just to find out from them their journey and stuff. So I'm not sure what's up.
Let's just carry on with our top 10s then. And
yeah. So
back, he can tell us.
So he was about to do his number 4, but when he comes in, he can do his number 4 and 3. But my number 3 is Still in Love.
Wow.
So yeah, my number 3 is Still in Love.
I'm really happy about that. And I'm really happy you found a place in your top 10 for that. An amazing track, now. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, I think, as I said, I went for listening to, because so those who are watching, when we do these top 10s, what we have to do is, because the albums have been out for a long time, so you're trying to listen to all the material all within a week, and then as I said, you notice that the lyrics from the first album, you get to deep and or a little something, and the lyrics change. But I loved the innocence of those tracks, "Still in Love" and "Young Girl," and those are 2 tracks that I think wouldn't have been uncommon for New Edition. So that's the vibe I got from that. What's your number 3?
Still in Love.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very it's quite an emotional track as well that I find. So I can only listen to it. It's a late at night type jam, but it's also very emotional. It's a very romantic track, and it's a very deep track. Like I say, as I said to Jon Jon before, I think it's a very special record. That very understated. If you've not heard it before, go back to that first album and have a listen to it. Then the viewers tonight. Number 2, Namdi. What's your number 2?
It might surprise you. I think going back to this is I didn't think this many tracks from the Deep album will make my cut, but I feel you.
Wow, brilliant! What, number 2?
Yeah,
I'm really impressed.
That's it's
got played a lot in UK and UK radio, that UK soul shows, because of the involvement of Walter and Scotty.
I think that's what I mentioned about they released the wrong singles on that album. They had, I'm listening to that and I'm thinking, wow, we're talking before Silk. That they had even the deeper track. If Silk had, this is the kind of stuff that Silk were coming out with and stuff. But I was like, man, they had I think their best ballads. It's hard because I've just had two main ballads from the Troop album, but I think the ballads on the Deep album were really really strong, and I Feel You is, oh goodness,
Oh,
should have become out of a single. That's, when I say that, compared to we talk about um, Sweet November, and that it got to number one, and I'm saying yes, it did get to number one, but I think this is a bigger, has more staying power, and would have really done better on the charts if it was released.
I'm really impressed. I'm really blown away by. I mean, I'll be honest, that track made my honourable mentions, but I can't argue with it. It is a brilliant track.
Yeah,
It really is. It's class. It's just so class. My number two again is from the Deeper album. It's just because I play it so much. It set me free.
okay.
I just think it's an epic track. It's as Sheldon would say, it's got the production's very lush. And like I was saying earlier, the way it breaks down and then Stephen Russell's vocals come in at the end, it just blows me away. Absolutely blows me away, that record.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go back to our top 10 before we hit our number one. But yeah, number 10. It was funny. I had three tracks tied to number 10, but I just went for one. But
any honorable mentions first? Have you got any?
Yeah, I mean, honorable mentions that was hard for me was I didn't put I'm not okay. I put on Soup down. All I Do Is Think of You. Another honorary mention that I had there was Deeper. I thought that was a really real sensual track. And She Blows My Mind. I didn't put that in there, but that was a track that I was contemplating that could have gone in there. And let me see. I talked about Strange Hotel, and yeah. So let me see. There was any other stuff. No, I think I kind of really cause I went through them and looked through, and those were the ones that I thought I couldn't squeeze them through. But yeah, so my number 10 is Come Back to Your Home. My number 9 is Mamacita. Number 8 is Attitude. No, that's My Attitude. Number 7 is My Music. Number 6 is My Love. Number 5 is I'm Not Gaming. Number 4 is Young Girl. Number 3 is Still in Love. Number 2 is I Feel You. And for number 1, I think it's I don't think there's they've gone so many tracks, but I think Spread My Wings as my number 1 Troop record. The performance on Arsenio Hall is legendary. One of the things that I first saw from them is when they did the snake in that dance, when they had the breakdown, and then when they did their dance move and everything, and then they come back in a huddle, and I'm like, wow, look at brotherhood. And Jon Jon said in one of our first interviews was that they saw what the Jacksons did on Motown 25, and when they all when they sang "I'll Be There" and they all came in a huddle, so that was the inspiration. So when they did that routine and they all came back in, goodness. So Spread My Wings, regardless of the mix, I'm sure there are better mixes out there than what we've heard. But as a song and as a performance, that's Troop at their best for me. So yeah, anyone that's seen that performance and listened to them sing and the whole, and not because I'm a big fan of Chucky Booker, but I just think it's just their best track. So Stevie, your honorable mentions and your
no yellow or red cards for you tonight, Namdi. I'm very, very impressed with your top 10. I did say to you, there's a lot to choose from. Our top 10s will be very interesting. But you have picked some really deep tracks as well tonight, as well as the singles. I think so I'm really impressed by your top 10.
I think what I'm enjoying by doing this stuff is being able to promote album cuts that actually were much stronger than the singles that were released, and then you start to think, who's picking these songs and thinking that
We've got to have the group first that have got a depth of albums to go through. Some groups only do 2 albums, but Troop have got you got 5 albums there. Plus,
yeah.
It really wanted to go with the more digital stuff that came out later. But I knew you'd over these last week. I knew you'd be digging through there, and I just wondered what you would have picked. But even though you say that Attitude is your favorite album, you've picked 3. How many tracks from Deeper are in your top 10? 3.
1,
3.
2, 3. Actually, it would have been just 3, but at the end I had to pick Come Back Home
3
over
tracks.
I'm Not Souped. So that's 4, which is which is a strange one. But they Come Back to Your Home. I think they just in the Deep album they had much amazing ballads. But the other 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 came from Troop album. And actually, Attitude, I only just got 3 that just squeezed through. So, yeah, I don't think the maths are right, but let me see. Attitude 1, My Music 2, and Attitude, that's My Attitude 3. And with the Troop album is 3. And then the Deep album had 4. So, it's, yeah. But as an album, I prefer the Attitude album as a whole. Listening to that, yeah, much better. I just
like
think
it grabs you straight away, as I was saying.
Yeah, and not just because of the singles. I think but you could see that they were influenced by LA and Babyface, what they were doing, what Teddy was doing, and and it was good to get an early young Dallas Austin with Joyce Irby in production. So yeah, that's why that came out, and then Chucky's tracks as well. So what about yourself? Honorable mentions and your top 10?
Honorable mentions were the title cut to Deeper, the very movie-esque sounding Deeper. Then there was I picked Give It Up, which came after it. There's a little interlude in between the both tracks where he's going from one girl to the next, and he's there's the interlude and that. There's a bit of cheating going on there. That's what I'm saying. That's why the album got me. I put I Feel You in there. Just a great track with Walter and Scotty. Then I've gone with Gosh, All I Do Is Think of You didn't make my top 10. It's a great listen. It's a fantastic track. Fantastic cover. Is a classic. Sadly didn't make my top 10. It was a tie for number 1 between another track, but we'll get to that in a bit. Then I've got Get Loose from the Controversial album. It's a keyboard solo on the mid-8 that comes in near the end, which just drives me insane. I don't know how they got that sound, but just check it out if you've got this album. And I've also chose the New Jack City cut, Living for the City. They're my honourable mentions. Number 10, I had Fly Away from Mayday. Number 9, I had Around from that album again. Number 8, I had She's My Favourite Girl. Number 7, I had I'm Not Gaming. Number 6, I had My Heart. Number 5, I had Keep You Next to Me. Number 4, That's My Attitude. Number 3, Still in Love. Number 2, Set Me Free. And number 1, like I said, I was thinking, do I have a definitive number 1 Troop track? And I just thought, this song again, it's an immortal song. It's a song that'll last forever. You've already picked it, Namdi, and I'm wondering. It's just a shame Sheldon's not here, because I wonder if Sheldon. It could be the first ever podcast where we've all got the same number. Would Sheldon have picked it as well? He might have done tonight. We'll never know. But Spread My Wings. You can't argue with that track.
No.
I Do Think of You. That'll be somewhat. A lot of people will have that as their number 1. People probably got married to that record, to be quite honest. But Spread My Wings is a song. Just takes you off into space, doesn't it? It's great song. Just take away the production, strip it down. Like I said in that Chucky Booker interview, will we ever get your version? He went, no. And I'm like, Chucky, mate, You want to rethink that because that is just an incredible song. Why would you not want to do that?
Yeah, I think
Chin Beats asked, do I think their cover of All I Do is better than the Jacksons? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's far better. You know?
Yeah. And I think what Chucky's saying is more so the fact that it's not just about the integrity and pride, but I just think it's one of the things where, you know, he's said numerous times about how the industry is. And this was just a small example how, you know, I'm going to show you that I can do this. I'm going to take your hard work and just change it around, and it doesn't sound. And so, you know, and I think, yeah. So, you know, I think it's just a sad thing that we didn't get. It could have been in a bigger song, but as I said, we've got the Kent remixes, and we've got different versions of stuff that's out there. But it's just an amazing track. But yeah, you know, I appreciate Jon Jon for being able to join in. You know, he rushed from church, and you know he's got his family, so it's understandable that he gave us a good an hour and a half before he had to leave.
You know what? I was looking at some of the prices as well online on like Amazon and eBay and Discogs, and you know these two albums now they're quite expensive, especially this. I don't know if viewers have got this, and you can, you know, try and get a copies. They're disappearing, I think, but it's quite, you know, you're talking $25 upwards, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, this one was below 10, you know, you could probably get a copy below $10 for this quite easily. But again, this again, $10, $15. So, but that one, if you've not got it, and the singles to get on CD single, you're talking $150.
Wow.
You know, especially from the two singles from this album, or the three on CD single, they're absolute fortune. You know, and My Heart from this, absolute fortune on CD single. So crazy prices. So lucky to have some of them.
Yeah,
You know?
well, I think especially if you have the means to play it. Yeah, as long as you have the means to play it. But yeah, guys, it's been yeah. Thank you, guys, and Mac and Tim Beats and everyone who's joined in today. Hope you guys enjoyed Jon Jon being able to share some of the backstories to the albums. It's a pity Sheldon. I mean, it's that Sheldon was struggling with his connectivity today, so I think he kept trying, and he just felt it's probably not going to work. So he just joined us, and then Jon Jon, you know, he's a real trooper, and no pun intended, that he came and rushed back because it is 3 hours, it's 8 hours difference within LA, so it's a lot earlier for him, but he still was able to do that. So, Emma, we're not sure. I mean, if there's going to be a show next week, we do have SWV planned and others, but I need to make sure because I know next week is in America is Mother's Day, so I don't know. So we need to find out from Sheldon if he's going to be around. But once we get that confirmed, we will post that as well. But there is a possibility that we may do something. So. We'll see. Baseline G, thanks very much. Well, Stevie, your reflections on tonight before we shut down.
Yeah, just so happy that Jon Jon could join us. I just wanted to put my point across about us fans getting a bit frustrated with the groups. You know, I know they have all these infighting and that, but they need to know that us fans, we get, you know, we're with you. We suffer as well, you know. We suffer along with them, you know.
Yeah.
You know, how many years we suffer with Guy? Too many years. Will there be another Guy album? Won't there? Will there be? Won't there?
Yeah.
You know, can't. But I'm just happy that we've able to do a show about Troop, and you know, mention some of their amazing back catalogue. And I think, like you say, the listeners, you know, are fully aware of them. And yeah, so like I say, Sheldon, go, man.
Well, as I said, we'll try and get him back. But yeah, you guys, it'd be great to listen back. Like the same with any of the episodes, that you can listen back to them. And actually, the live chats are set up so that you can actually follow through with that. It's just been great. As I said, on Thursday, no, it's Wednesday, I've got Stetosonic. Monifa is coming out with a new single on Friday, so we are. She's going to come on, and I'll bring on live. So if anyone has any questions for Monifa, if you remember Monifa from Uptown, it's been Come Back Home and Touch It. So she will be coming on live to talk about that new album, a new single. And I believe in the coming days, I'm supposed to get Total, Kima and Keisha on live. So that would be interesting. As well as 702. I think they may be as well coming on live. And but if you haven't watched the Bob Robinson from Tim and Bob, I'm telling you, I've just finished the last bit of editing, and it is going to be real. It's really good to follow through with everything that he's done, from all the tracks they've written, why they, how they, the influence from Teddy and everyone. So that's playing right now. But anyway, thanks you guys for everything, for supporting us. I know Stevie was really happy to be able to do Troop. He's been championing this episode for a while, but I wanted to make sure we can get Jon Jon to to add some flair to it as well, so he can give us some backstories and stuff. Especially as that album was such a big album. Now we know why it didn't get the push and why most people didn't get to hear it and really support it the same way you would have, because the label just decided, what, we'll just drop you, we don't need you anymore, kind of thing. And that's the business, the hard truth about the music business. So it's really sad about that. I hope you can get Letitia on. Who's Letitia?
We tried, Namdi. I have DM'd her a few times.
Oh, yes,
she was signed to Motown, weren't she? And she worked with Gene Griffin and Alex Austin and loads of them. So
yeah, I think she was coming on and then she cancelled just something like that.
She was leaving.
Traveling.
Yeah, she was traveling around. We'll have to reach out to her again. We haven't forgotten about that.
Yeah, but you're trying to get to Covington, Tracy or
Trisha. I'm waiting to see Trisha Covington. She had an album out in '94, and she worked with Carl West and Kenny Smooth, but she's still making music now. She's got new music out, so we'll see if we can get her on. We'll see anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate everything, and we're disappointed. It's hard. It's normally if Sheldon was around, we'll probably go on for another 10, 20 minutes, but without Sheldon, it doesn't feel the same. So we will end it here. And as I said, there should be 2 more live shows this week. One definitely on Wednesday, and we'll try and get we'll let you know if we're back in on Sunday, which I'm sure we will be. All right, then. We'll see you later.